I'm Tony Little and I work for Organic Centre Wales, and we're here with the Kyrie's Organic Community Agriculture Project in Pembrokeshire. We're going to build a cob oven today, which is going to be an absolutely fantastic resource for cocoa to use for years to come, but it's also a great community activity, so we're going to have a lot of fun, we're going to get our hands and our feet dirty, and we're going to make a really nice oven.
I'm Sam Mukumba and I come from Uganda. But I work for an organization called Ruskin Mill in Nailsworth. I teach ceramics and sculpting most of the time, but I also work with community in schools as well as organizations which are interested in teamwork or team building or building a community or bring a community together. So I do what we call social sculpture projects in communities using different materials. I have to say that building a bread oven requires a lot of preparation of materials, collecting all the materials you need, such as clay, straw, sand, mica, and bricks that can store heat. So what we've done today, we've just worked on the plinth first. The plinth is very important because you need to store the heat as well as to create a foundation where the bread oven is going to sit. It's very important. It's as important as the bread oven on its own, because if the plinth is not well done, then the function of the bread oven is literally not as you would expect. So we've created a plinth where the bread oven is going to sit, and we use a lot of different materials, not organic materials, but materials like broken bricks, glass like bottles. But if you're using bottles, you have to make sure that each bottle has a lid off, otherwise you end up with an explosion. And then a lot of sand, and then we seal the plinth on top as flat as we can, and then on the plinth what we do, we put sandstone slabs to create a flat surface, and then on that we put the high alumina fired bricks, which are very high quality in holding heat into the bread oven.
Now clearly the most important thing for a plinth is that it's fireproof, and we've used some fire retardant boards, a fire blanket, we'll put some fire bricks on top of that, and finally a layer of sandstone slabs.
Once you've done the base and you've measured the diameter of the inside of your bread oven, then we said building the wall, we said preparing the clay to a consistency that literally not too wet and not too dry, but with the ingredients which I talked about, like straw, sand, and clay. Yes, in this area you have to be very careful with what material you add to clay, but straw is a beautiful material to use in clay because it's almost a waterproof material, but when you wet it, once it has been dry, it expands in volume. And if you've mixed it in the clay, what it does, when the clay dried, it shrinks and goes back to its original size, which allows air spaces in the clay and allow the clay to breathe. And in the end, it helps also for the expansion of heat. You use air, and once air is heated, it expands in volume, and you retain a lot of heat in the material. But another sort of property or another importance of straw is also to bind clay or to help clay to be literally not too compacted to each other. So it is holding the form so that you almost overcome the problem of cracking of the clay. So clay as a material needs a lot of other ingredients to make sure that it doesn't crack when it is dry or when it is fired, and straw is one of them.
And now it's time to build the main body of the oven, and we're going to give it that wonderful semicircular shape by building a sand mould.
So we had to measure the stick that would tell us the height of the interior of the oven before we do the sand dome. And if you can remember, we also had to use moist sand so that it can keep the form. So the stick was mainly to measure the height, which has to be having a good relationship between the door and the interior top of the dome. And then the shell is created with bricks. I like using bricks because it's very easy to teach people how to make bricks and compress them to remove all the air pockets in the process, which you don't want to be there. And also they are easier to work with. You end up with even body throughout.
On this particular oven, we're going to use 2 layers of clay bricks to build the main body. And then we're going to pat it down and smooth it over to make it really nice and attractive. Chimneys, not all earth ovens have chimneys, but if you really want to make your oven work effectively, then you're going to need one. And we're certainly putting one in today.
You know, if you look at the old ovens, they never had a chimney on, but it doesn't stop it from working. But what it does, it stops the combustion or the fire to happen quick enough and well enough. So the adding the chimney on helps the draft, the drove air to flow, and also the wood to burn clean and quick enough not to clog the chamber with smoke and steam and soot, which we are not looking forward for. You want it to go up. The higher the chimney and the draw, the better the combustion process of burning wood. So you use less wood in some or the other because it takes quite a short time to make this ember, which you are looking for, that we're gonna produce heat for the bread oven. But today what we've done, we've created a firebox at the back of the bread oven. But the old one, or the traditional one which you are familiar with, the fire is inside the chamber. In addition to those, there is another one which I make, or I teach people to make, with a fire underneath the base. So the firebox underneath the floor of the oven. They all work very well, but the one which is inside, where you make the fire inside there, is quick, but the only thing which it does, leaves you with a lot of ash to clean away. And sometimes if you lose a bit of heat, then you have to stop the whole process and make a fire inside the chamber. So the one at the back is helpful because you can keep it going without distracting the activity.
So we've built the oven, we've finished the construction. What do we have to do now?
Now is to be patient and allow it to dry. And this will take at least a month with no rushing. But before then, because we use the sand dome, we give it a week and then we'll eliminate all this, we take the sand out. So that month, once that month is gone, what you need to do is what I do. Some people don't have to do that, but it is a process which I like as a ceramicist, is to fire the bread oven for 10 hours so that I can go above 600 degrees up to 900 degrees and create a ceramic material that is strong and also easy to hold heat in a quicker way. So I would fire it first for 10 hours, and then the following day, or even on that day, you won't be thinking of baking bread in it, because it will be very hot even the following day. But you can cook other sort of meals in the bread oven. Now it is finished, it can be used as it is, but if you want to push it a bit further and you have time, it will be good to give it a more insulation, which is a mixture of sand, mica or the vermiculite, and lime. And you can plaster that one on, and after that you can also create designs or forms you'd like, or leave it as clean as it could be. It's all a matter of choice, the way you would like it to be.
Okay, so what do you think people have learned today by building the cob oven?
Quite a lot. Building a bread oven has brought a lot of understanding of natural material, and people learned also how to work as a team. I don't mean that they've not known how to do that before, but it emphasizes it a bit better, because in this process it's working with different abilities and different age groups and different professionals.
So here we are, we've finished. We've built a fantastic oven, and we've all learned a lot about the whole construction process. But also, we've had a really, really good time. We've got together as a community and as a group, we've worked together, and we've really, really enjoyed ourselves. And what we've got at the end of the day is a resource that's going to give Coca a lot of fun and a lot of food for many years to come.